specifically in this video, we're going to talk about my own online dating success, because there was a period where I was doing well with cold approach during this time. I could still get laid from cold approach, no problem. Pulled tons of hot girls, but I wasn't really getting anything from online dating. I wasn't really trying. And when I made my profile, I was getting, and this is like 2017, 2018, I was getting maybe one decent match a week, like with a girl that I would actually consider meeting. So barely any likes, barely any matches. It was absolute trash. And it was around then that I found your channel. And I thought, okay, I might as well give it a shot. Why not get some better pictures? Why not see what happens and see if I can actually get results? Because I had this belief that online dating doesn't really count. Right? I was like, you can't get hot girls. You can't get 9s and 10s from it. It's much harder. And I must just not be high enough SMV because I'm not getting a lot of matches. That was my basic belief. But we're going to show you the transition after using his advice, after using what he has in his course, which is the dating blueprint. My ratings on my pictures went from, I think the highest before was a 5.1 out of 10 to a 9.7 out of 10. And so my matches went from, let's say, one match a week to now I'm getting 5 to 10 likes a day passively on each of the different apps on average. And so I still don't meet that many girls online, but I sure meet a lot more than I did before.
Yeah, believe it or not, that's the belief I used to have too, but this was closer to 2013, 2014. I was able to somewhat consistently sleep with girls from cold approach. This was like about 2 years into the pickup community, but online, my results were shit. I was mainly seeing like fat girls and blah, blah. And I did think it was like, online is BS. I kind of did have that mindset, but there's nothing to change your opinion, like firsthand experience. When I've like actually had sex with the first hot girl from dating app with like minimal work, I was like, okay, maybe I'm off here. And I just realized I just wasn't doing the wrong thing. I wasn't screening. I wasn't being direct enough. I didn't have good photos. I wasn't hooking the girl. And so like once you start fixing some of these issues, like your perspective just changes.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, sometimes it's too easy. That's what can bother me about online dating in a way. It's like I'm used to having to put a lot of work in with cold approach. Like I'll approach 30 girls in a night and get a bunch of numbers and then put in all this effort and get something out of it. Whereas online, there'll be literal freebies, right? Girls sometimes message me like, hey, do you want to have sex? I've had that happen multiple times with.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah, I love when that happens, but I've literally had that happen thanks to optimizing my profile. So I'm gonna show you my photos before I implemented your advice, before I optimized my photos. And that's really where I got everything that I improved in my profile was mostly from your channel. I don't really look at any other sources seriously because you might know of some other ones that are decent, but honestly, I don't know of any other online dating coaches that have anything really useful. And seeing your website, it was your website and you had a group on Facebook that may no longer be around. It was a little too real, a little too legit for Mark Zuckerberg. But I saw all that stuff, saw all the receipts, all the results. And so I started putting in effort and you'll see the difference is pretty insane. All right. So we're going to go to the bad ones first. All right. So this is probably a picture that a lot of you are familiar with. That was my main Tinder picture. That was for a very long time. It was taken with a professional camera by a actual professional photographer, believe it or not. And so I thought, it's good. To me, this looked good. To me, I'm like, my skin looks good. The lighting looks nice. It's got bokeh. It looked good. But clearly, 5.1 out of 10 women did not find it remotely attractive at all. And that was my main Tinder picture. And I was confused. Like, why am I getting no results from Tinder? Am I uglier than, maybe I'm just so charismatic that I make up for my looks in person. But it turned out the picture was just garbage, apparently.
Yeah, here's an unfortunate reality that I will fucking swear my life on. The vast majority of professional photographers have no idea how to take a good photo for Tinder. What is a good photo for LinkedIn or for a like a company type of environment or a headshot for a modeling thing is not the same thing as what's a good thing for a dating photo. The main difference is that a dating photo should look very natural, right? Versus for like a LinkedIn photo, it's not going to look natural. It's just like a headshot. Right. So a lot of these photographers really have no idea what they're doing. I would say the majority, 80, 90%. There are some that are good. That's why on my YouTube, I have a recommended list of photographers, but that list is like 4 people.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, it's on the community tab. I think you have to go further back, but it's not a big list. The point is, so yeah, so that's an unfortunate reality. I think one cool thing about my content is it actually gives you examples. So you can, when you do a photo shoot, if you guys do with a professional photographer, you'd be like, hey, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, right? So there's no like, because a photo shoot costs like a fucking $1,000 sometimes. Like you don't want to waste that, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I've gone through, I've seen like the ones on Snapper who are dating photographers, and there are good ones, but yeah, something like 80-90% of them I'm better than, and I'm not a professional photographer. Right. At this point now, today, with what I know now, I'm better than most of them. And these are guys that's what they do for a living, which is, it's kind of pathetic, to be honest. It's kind of sad. And it is really hard to find a good photographer. Now, that kind of leads into a question, because most of my pictures that I have that are good are not taken from a photographer. None of the one I'm going to show you, the highest rated one I have is a 9.7. That was not taken by a professional photographer. So how necessary do you think it is to get a professional photographer versus doing it like with friends?
It's not necessary at all. I've seen multiple successful profiles where they didn't get a professional photographer. It can have advantages for sure. The photographer knows what he's doing, but like half of my best Tinder photos were also not taken by a professional photographer. So it's not necessary at all. It can be helpful, but again, the photographer needs to know what they're doing. But you can also, I have a video called How to Do a Photo Shoot at Home. I just literally walk you through how you can get your friend or your mom or whatever to basically take the right kind of photos. So yeah, it's totally doable. Like you can totally do it on your own with a friend. You can't do it by yourself without anyone. Like people will be like, oh, what if I just put it on a, that's not going to work. But as long as you have someone else there and they're fairly socially intelligent and they're open to coaching, you can get some decent photos.
So I think this is it's very good evidence against the black pill. When you see the differences in pictures, and these are the ones I thought were good, right? If I showed the ones that I didn't think were good, right? The pictures that were not the ones I thought were the best, like back in the day, they probably would have got rated like what, a 2 out of 10 or a 3 out of 10 or something. And then my best one is a 9.7 out of 10. Now that variance, that's not a small variance. 4.6 to a 9.7, that's many standard deviations more attractive according to women. And a lot of people think, oh, I get no matches, therefore I'm ugly, right? That's a lot of guys. Oh, I get 0 matches. It must be my SMV is not high enough. 9 times out of 10, maybe more, your pictures are fucking garbage, right?
Yeah, it's also important to point out, like, let's say your average photos are 5, and let's say you improve by 25%. You're not going to get 25% better results. You're going to get like 70% better results. It's that type of thing. So making a 20-25% difference could mean like doubling your matches, right? Because again, you at that point start to meet a lot more girls' threshold, right? Every girl has a threshold for what she's willing to swipe right on, right? And at that point, you're just going to pop for a lot more girls. So yeah, it's like, even though it may seem like, oh, whatever, it's a small change, like, no, it's not. It's the difference between getting close to no matches and just a bunch of fat girls and getting a shitload of matches.
Did you see the I don't watch many of Wheat Waffle's videos, but he had one where he showed his online dating results, and he showed the amount of matches he got, and he actually has shockingly very good pictures for online dating.
Yeah, part of that is because of me. You know,
that makes sense. He
ran. Yeah, I helped him a lot.
That adds up. So that tracks.
Some of his photos, yeah.
Because I remember you did like some kind of street interview where you asked people to rate him or something like that, and his pictures were very mediocre. They weren't very impressive, and I wouldn't be shocked that he didn't get Tinder matches. And after your photos, he was getting a shit, like Chad level matches, right? He was getting a shit ton of matches, and a good amount of dates. The hilarious thing is he got like hundreds of matches, tons of matches. He got decent amount of dates. I don't remember the exact numbers, but he had a lot of success. And then he somehow said, well, Tinder's still not worth it, right? Tinder is still, the women are low quality or some shit. But clearly he kind of disproved a lot of the black pill with his own video, which I find very ironic.
Yeah, there's the infamous black pillar code. But I would say Wheat Waffle's no longer black pillar.
Is he not? Is he transitioning?
He's transitioning, man. He's going through the process. No, because I asked him how much the looks matter. He said 60%. That's not a black pill.
That is not black pill. No, but I
believe it's like 95%.
But his videos don't necessarily match that. He's got to change, because he had a video where saying that unless you're a 6 out of 10, which to him you can be an 8 out of 10 is the highest, right? So there's no 9 or no 10, which I think is retarded. But whatever. Like no 10 because there's no such thing as perfection. Okay, I guess. But what about 9? Well, there's whatever. It's a very dumb system. So an 8 is a 10 in his book. It's to make everyone lower and make everyone feel more unattractive, I guess. But according to him, he said you shouldn't do cold approach if you're not at least a 6 out of 10. And he rated you, I believe, a 5 out of 10, if I remember correctly, which means you couldn't succeed from cold approach. It's obviously not true.
Yeah.
but it's kind of cool. So when he got your photos, someone who's was a black pill, or maybe is less so now, maybe you're helping change that mindset with.
Well, I mean, I'm not really trying to convince him. He just asked me for help with the photos. I gave him some help.
But it worked out.
Yeah, I edited some of his photos to kind of show him what you want to do, what you don't want to do. But yeah, I think that definitely played a role. I mean, I don't think I'm like solely responsible for the photos, but I think I played a role for sure.
Yeah, but it also shows the power of like when you change photos, the results, the difference is it's not small.
I've had countless people say, I thought I was too ugly for Tinder. I thought Tinder didn't work in my area. I thought Tinder didn't work for Indian guys. And then when they get better photos, it's like, dude, I fucking love Tinder. Like I've seen that happen like so many times. That's like, it's not even like unique to me anymore when someone says that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of the reason they're incels is because of their Tinder. Because they download the apps, they get no matches, and they think they're ugly after that happens, which is really sad. But if they went through the process that you teach and they got higher quality pictures, which is what I did, you can see I'm tons and tons of fucking tests, right? I took hundreds, thousands over the time of pictures, and most of them sucked. But over time, you can see consistently they start to get better and better and better and better. And there's less shitty ones as I get farther along. That's just what happens as you get more experience, and you see the difference is not 10%, it's not 20%, it's like 1,000%. So if you look at some of these earlier ones, like it's so bad, it's so sad. Like 5.4.
There's essentially three problems with your earlier photos. The first one is the lighting. For most of them, it's not ideal. Some of them, it's okay. The second one, the biggest issue is they look posed. Your earlier photos look very posed. And the third one is that your facial expression is like a little bit off. The ideal facial expression, there's two ones that are good. One is like kind of like a little bit of a smirk. And the second one is kind of like the mysterious, like kind of like, your brooding type of look. Both of those are good, but just
the 50 Shades of Grey kind of thing.
Yeah, but complete dead face is not that ideal. A smile, like a forced smile, is not ideal. So yeah, that's like just something. And the way you get around that is that you're not like, actually, I'm never going to be like, hey man, so do this. It's just, you take a lot of photos. And while you're doing a photo shoot, if you're a good photographer, like when I've done photo shoots for friends, I'll get them in that mood. I'll like fuck around with them. I'll make them laugh. And then
that's exactly what I do.
Yeah. That's exactly what you have to do. Yeah.
Right. So I take pictures of a lot of guys. I mean, I've gotten pictures. Yeah, I don't know why that sounds so gay.
A lot of men.
Well phrased. Cutting that out. So I've taken pictures of like Charisma King, for example, and I got one that he has rated a 9.8 out of 10 in Photo Feeler. Right. And it was making him laugh, right? Just getting him to have a moment where he forgets that you're taking pictures just for like a split second and getting that picture. Now, the way I do it is I put my camera on burst mode and just like hold the button, and then eventually one of them is bound to be good. Right. That's the strategy I found. That's all my best pictures. That's actually the basic strategy, because I'm not a professional photographer. So if I have someone take pictures of me, I give them my camera and I tell them just hold the button and one of them is going to be good. Right. I give them advice. I tell them, how to make me laugh, that kind of shit. Right. The angle, the lighting, all these things. But as soon as there's bound to be one where I genuinely look like I'm either about to fuck a hot girl, right? The more 50 Shades of Grey type of picture, or I have one where I'm genuinely happy.
Yeah. That's ideal. And that's exactly the correct way to do it.
And these earlier ones, none of them, I do not look genuinely happy. A couple I'm pretending. This is the first one that's kind of decent, but it's not great. Then this one is the first one that got a solid rating. 8.3 is not terrible.
Can you zoom in on that so we can see?
Yeah. It still has a lot of issues with it. I'm with the dog. Being with the dog always helps, I think.
The dog is definitely, the lighting is good, and the dog helps a lot.
It is a little blown out though in the background.
But it's not bad because it's hitting one part of your face, but it's not hitting your part of your face too much. So that's kind of like, you always want to have just slightly more light on one side, I think.
Right.
I think the biggest difference is the dog. Yeah, what's not ideal about this photo is your facial expression. Your smile looks a little too fake, but that can actually be very easily fixed with FaceApp. So that's something that I could fix for you in like 30 seconds.
So this one was, I think, oh no, that's FaceApp. So the one that got an 8.4, that's originally it was a like a 6 or something, and then I just added FaceApp and it went up to an 8.4.
FaceApp doesn't work for every photo, but it works for like 70%.
It does not. Some it actually can make the smile look worse. I have one later that makes it worse. But So as you can see, here is the first one that I got that's actually pretty good, 9.1 out of 10.
Yeah.
And then I edited that and I got it to, I don't actually use this one. You can tell me your thoughts on this because I think it's too edited. I use one with a lighter amount of editing where it's a 9.3.
It's so here's the big difference between this one and all your previous one. It looks more natural. It looks like you're walking around the city and someone took a photo of you. The one thing that's suboptimal about that photo, which can actually be very easily fixed, is you have too much space above your head, which makes you look shorter. So just literally cropping it and cutting out like 80% of the space above your head would make this one even better.
Gotcha. So as you can see, as you get to the newer ones, so as far as ones I use on my Tinder profile, this one I use, that one 9.7.
That one's definitely better than the earlier ones. I'm not the biggest fan of the smile. I would probably fuck with that a little bit with Face App.
I think that might be a Face App. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I was not smiling and then I added the smile and that's what made it go from.
Yeah, I actually never recommend using the smile feature on Face App. I recommend doing the closed, which gives you a smirk.
The closed smile, which gives you a smirk. I think
either closed or tight, and then they have different levels. And finding one where you have just a little bit of a smirk. You don't want it to be like too much, but just a little bit of a smirk is ideal, I found.
Gotcha. I'm not using the highest rated pictures. I'm using the ones that are like a 9 to a 9.4. Even with that, I matched one that is definitely memorable. I almost got a date with her, and I actually didn't because I fucked up in the text. But I matched with Miss Sao Paulo, Brazil, which
oh wow.
I know you you have lots of people in Sao Paulo who you're big fans of, but I matched with Miss Sao Paulo, Brazil, which is, if you don't know, you're watching this, that is one of the biggest cities in the entire planet. It's like, what, 15 million people? And Miss Sao Paulo, that's like being Miss Arizona or Miss whatever. So considered one of the hottest women there. And the only reason I didn't get a date with her, because she actually agreed to plans. And then she said that I reminded her of the guy from You. You know the show You? She said, I reminded her of the guy from You. And I made a comment referencing that show that was wrong. So I mentioned something that was wrong about the show. And she's like, why are you lying about the show? I just remembered it wrong. And then she got pissed off and then I didn't get a date with her. But I'll show when we have this video live later. I'll show I've gotten matches and dates with girls that I would consider a 9 out of 10 multiple times. Yeah. And a 9 out of 10 to me, like my rating scale is pretty harsh. A 9 out of 10 is at least the top 1 in 100, right? If maybe not even more. I don't consider very many women at all a 9 out of 10. So getting that from cold approach is pretty difficult. And getting that from online without having to put in any effort really is kind of insane to me.
Yeah. So, there's like quite a few misconceptions that exist around dating apps. Let's just quickly debunk this. The first one is that, this is only for hookups, but I actually want to get a girlfriend. I want something more serious. Yes, there are some chicks on dating apps who are looking to fuck. I would say the majority of girls, even on Tinder, which is a hookup app, are looking for something that's less casual and more serious. Like they're looking for like a relationship or quasi relationship. I met my girlfriend through Bumble. The girl before that I met at a bar, but the girlfriend before that I met on Tinder. My cousin met her now husband, father of her kid on Tinder. My aunt met her boyfriend on Tinder. So it's like, it's not just for hookups. You can use it for that, but you can also use it for a relationship. So that's the first misconception. The second misconception is that all these girls are going to be like damaged and like they're going to be like all fucked up. And again, that's also nonsense. Is there probably like, look, if we do a sample, take 100 girls at a coffee shop, 100 girls on Tinder, are the ones on Tinder probably going to be more likely to have some issues? Sure. But there's a lot of girls on Tinder who are very healthy, who are non-damaged, who, they just got a relationship or maybe they're a little lonely and they're looking to meet a guy. And the thing is, those girls don't stay on Tinder for long. So you have to strike while opportunity is hot. So there's an actually opportunity cost for not knowing what you're doing, not having good profile, not having good texting. And I think the third is that you can't find attractive girls. It's all going to be like 5s and 6s. Now, of course, that, there's going to be more 5s and there's going to be 10s, right? Of course, but there are hot girls on dating apps. The thing is, they're just very, very picky. So your profile needs to be absolutely on point. The margin for error is just a lot lower if the girl's like super hot.
Yeah, and to be fair, the other thing is a coffee shop. There's no volume, right? There's not 100 girls at a coffee shop you can approach. Look, the ideal place to meet a girl would be like a library or something along those lines. That'll be, you're going to meet someone who's intellectual or whatever. Good luck, right? No one goes to a fucking library. And so the options are really clubs, nightclubs, or online. Nightclubs, they also have a lot of girls that have the same potential low quality issues
I
as
would say the
online
girls are
dating.
going to be higher quality personality wise on a dating app than at a club. I think club is probably going to be worse. I think when it comes to like a bar, it might like balance out, but a club, yeah, I think you're going to get like the worst of the worst at a club.
Yeah,
Personality.
there's a lot of socialites, right? There's a lot of girls that are kind of plastic and fake. And the good thing about a club is you can approach a bunch and you're going to find
Yeah.
one that's cool, right? I met my last girlfriend, 4-year relationship. She was from a club, and now she's getting her PhD from Oxford. She was very attractive, but she's classy, successful, all those things. Met her at a club. If you have enough options, you can get high quality women, whether it's an online dating app, whether it's a club or whatever. It's just you don't have enough volume, most guys. They're choosing from like 2 girls or 3 girls or 0 girls in many cases. And so that's why they end up getting a toxic, shitty, girl that they don't even like. But it's not like I've met a lot of girls on Tinder that they just downloaded the app, right? And they probably delete the app not long, they don't stay on it very long. And those tend to be on average the ones that the ones that are on it for years and are banging tons of guys from it, maybe are less relationship material, but it's not a lot of girls on Tinder have not been on there long, and they're just like curious.
Yep. You're completely correct. More volume solves a lot of dating issues that guys have. I mean, I've had guys like, that's why whenever I do a coaching call, the first thing I start with is their profile. The guy will be like, oh, no, I just want help on my texting. Let's just talk about texting. I'll be like, no, let's take a look at your profile first. And then if the profile, like a lot of these, like, oh, the girl's barely responding to me, I think I fucked up with my text game. No, she was just never that into you because your profile sucked. And then we fix the profile, and suddenly their texting becomes easier. I mean, it doesn't solve the problem completely. If their texting sucks, it's still going to work against them, right? But if their texting is like decent, right, but a lot of girls are disappearing, we fix their profile, and suddenly a lot less girls start disappearing. So yeah, volume is really, really important.
Yeah, 100%. So I actually, in terms of like showing the kind of results I get now from Tinder, and honestly, if I had time, I could go on like 2 or 3 dates per day on dating apps if I wanted to, with girls who are at least like, let's say a 7.5 or above, if I wanted to. And I still could make my profile even better. There's still room for improvement.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I could do that where I'm at now. And that is considering, by the way, in the past, before I used your advice, I was getting 1 match a week with maybe a 7 if I'm lucky. So I actually took a video. I did a boost, and we can talk about whether you should do a boost or not, because I know that's something you have an opinion on. But I did a boost, and you can see just 1 boost, it was over 30 likes.
Nice.
Just 1 boost.